Assassin's Promise by Thomas Woodward, Chapter 121. Island wailed. Irna reached out a hand to hush the little one. What was to become of her now? Bone-weary from waking at all hours of the night, watching her children, Irna sat mutely in the center of the shaded tent. She had no one, nothing. Her eyes brimmed again at the thought of her dead husband. She could see traces of his smile in little Island's face. The children had felt his passing, if they did not understand it yet. The young woman she had bandaged and cared for had turned on her. She had not suspected their betrayal, but the older one had struck her. The young one had conferred with demons. She wished that Kellen had never taken them in. She had been a fool to trust blindly, but she would act. She would not let her children die. Alone she could do it. She hugged herself, feeling the bitterness mix with her exhaustion. She was tired of feeling angry and weak. She feared that she would be thrown out if the other women left the encampment. For some reason, the people viewed them with high regard. She wanted nothing to do with their black arts. Living off the food that was freely given to them was a blessing, though. She could not understand the strange ways of the merchants they had been taken in by, and their servants. With her children, she was shackled to this place now. Could she find someone to share her burden? Looking over to the other side of the tent, folds of dark cloth hung over the entrance, filtering in the light. Mael and Sana lay snuggled up to each other, sleeping peacefully. She smiled. There was so much of Kellen in them. She would just lie down for a minute. Pulling herself near their little bodies, she rested Island near her and closed her eyes. The world faded as a thrum of drums began in the distance. It could have been no more than minutes, but the sound of drums were loud in Irna's ears. The children were crying, and Sana pulled on her hungrily. Irna knelt and adjusted her shawl, allowing the little one to feed. She broke into tears again over the food they had been given. It tasted wonderful and would ensure the health of her babes, for she had worried of their food stores running dry before they had been discovered. A metallic clang could be heard, growing louder outside her tent. As she sat with Sana, she could see the dust rising in front of the tent flap. The sound of marching feet echoed from just outside. Were they leaving her? A terrified feeling passed through her. No, they couldn't be leaving yet. Someone would have told her. Would they? The bitterness returned, Irna's expression turning rueful. No, she could not count on anyone else, no one but herself. Sana broke away, starting to cry in earnest, and immediately Irna softened her expression, shushing the child. They had a way of detecting her emotions, she had found. Children were a mystery that way. Little Island started crawling towards the tent opening, and Irna spoke quickly. Island, come away from there. Please, your mother worries. The little boy turned for a moment, a happy gap-toothed smile spreading across his face, before slowly turning back to the entrance and the rising sound of marching feet. Island! The little boy started stumbling out of the entrance. Irna tried to disentangle herself from little Sana, but her child let out a scream when Irna pulled away. White with fear, Irna moved in a scrambled rush to catch Island before he could get too far out of her sight. She came face to face with a tall man with dark hair and golden skin, heavily tanned from the sun. He wore elaborate cloth that was banded around his arms and legs. Finely crafted boots rose to his knee, and his head was covered by a white cloth to give some measure of protection. Rows of men marched past just behind him. He had carefully blocked Island's path without crushing the child. Thank you, she cried. Irna immediately grabbed Island and pulled him close. The tall man knelt down and smiled, making strange gestures to her and ruffling the child's hair. He reached out and touched Irna's hand once, then turned and joined the ranks of marching men. His touch had been surprisingly gentle. Irna coughed indelicately as the dust covered them in a cloud. She watched a moment as the man disappeared from view before returning to her tent. Looking down, she realized she had forgotten to cover herself in her haste to save the child. Blushing, she tended to the child. As Sana released her grip, she sang a soft melody to the child, lulling her to sleep. Aliyah, my child, Aliyah, my love, tuck your head down, rest now. Aliyah, Aliyah, mother and father will watch over my little child. Father has a fine cup of horn, mother has hair of golden flax. My child, Aliyah, my love, rest you now, close your eyes. Mother and father will bring the morning. My little love, Aliyah. Irna continued humming the tune while Sana crept back to bed, this time waiting for Island to tire himself out. Sleep would overtake her soon. She tucked Island's head against her breast, holding him close. Hi everyone. If you've been enjoying my content and you'd like to support my channel, you can do so at patreon.com/authorsprocess. And it would mean a great deal to me to be able to keep bringing you great content and sharing it with you on multiple platforms. Here is the page that you will see if you choose to support me. And on this page, you will be able to choose what membership level you could support at. Again, only if you choose to. But we have the initial level dedicated to the arts, and then lover of the arts, patron of the arts, and grand patron of the arts. So what you will receive is early access to my content, and then at the higher levels, your name will be listed at the end of each of my videos in a special thanks section. So again, please consider it. It would mean a great deal to me. And thank you so much again. Even if you're unable to support monetarily, just viewing my content is great support as well. So thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate you.